One of the most powerful wealth building hacks is so simple. The question is, are you leveraging it to its biggest potential, greatest potential for you to build wealth? I'll explain that more coming up. My name's Mike Bernardo, the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. What's the biggest sort of hack to building wealth? Well, there's a lot of them, and I share a lot of those principles here on this channel from time to time. But one of the biggest is also one of the simplest, one of the easiest, and often overlooked. And unfortunately, I saw this example played out sort of in the negative, the opposite of it, in a recent situation. Here it is. Individual had a great job, had really good income, and actually was also part of the leadership of this of his business as well. And over the past couple of years, has actually received a few different chunks of money that he was not anticipating and really didn't have clear direction for either. And so this is over the past few years, really since COVID. His businesses were doing well. His primary role was doing well, and so received a kind of a lump sum for a commission, a lump sum from he was part owner in the business, lump sum from another source as well, and what added up to, gosh, 6 figures of extra resources over the past few years that sort of landed in his lap unexpectedly. Now, originally, he was, he has good, sense of what his financial goals are, but originally it was, I'm not sure exactly what the purpose of this money is, totally wasn't expecting it, so just keep it in cash and it'll become clearer. And then the next, chunk came and it was, yeah, we might be moving, so let me keep this in cash. And then another chunk and more time passed and so on. And ultimately, we're now a few years after this, and this money has just been sitting there in the bank, just kind of growing and way above what would be reasonable for an emergency fund or what would be reasonable for any of the short-term goals, short of, moving and needing a down payment, but they've ruled that out. And so ultimately, this money, now huge blessing and works very hard, and so much deserved, much earned, but it's sort of been sitting in the bank account earning 4%, 5% or whatever, but not helping them build wealth. I asked him recently, okay, so listen, do you have any clarity on this money? What's going on? And he sort of admitted to me what he was thinking. And honestly, the first was fear of a short-term market decline. Why this money was still sitting in the savings account after he knew we're not going to need this money in the short term. He didn't want to have it invested at the wrong time. It was, certainly with all the volatility, I get it, that we saw in 2022. And then, the surprise rebound in 23 and explosive growth in 24, election year. Yeah, there's this nervousness of, if I've got a big chunk of money and I throw it in the market and all of a sudden it drops 20%, oh gosh, I'm going to feel awful. So part of this, part of the hesitation was fear about the markets. And then the other, maybe you can relate to this one as well, even though he sort of ruled out needing the money in the short term, he sort of also thought, yeah, but what if something comes up? What if I realize I do actually want this money in the short term and need it in the short term, and I've already invested for the long term, and again, maybe it's gone down in value. So he confessed those were a couple of the things that were holding him back. And it led me back to this simple hack, this wealth building hack that maybe would be is the most powerful wealth building hack, and that is automatically saving and investing for your future. Automated savings, right? And think about this. Now, there was no way to automate this, although I'll share an idea here in just a minute, because these chunks of dollars were just unusual, abnormal, and not expected. Truly, there was no, if this, then you'll get this big payment. No, it was completely out of the blue. And so there wasn't this automated savings set up. He's already got that with his 401k and so on. But imagine if you say, well, that principle, that's not that stealthy. It's not that simple. Imagine every single paycheck, if your payroll department reached out, sent you a text and said, do you want to save into your 401k? Every single paycheck. Would you have the the clarity and the courage, the discipline to be able to say, look at every single week, every single paycheck, every other week or whatever, and say, yes, I don't think anything's coming up. Let's go ahead and save that 15%. Okay, yep, nope, the bank account is stable. Let's save that 15%. Or would you do what I think he did, and we see a lot of people do, and they say, oh, wait a second, nope, I'm not sure, or the bank account balance is a little light, or we might have this thing upcoming. Let me just get past that and then I'll invest it, something like that. Or yeah, we're hitting a rough patch in the market. I'm not sure. Don't save anything. Don't put anything in the 401k out of this paycheck. I'll do it next time. Something like that. I think we'd all come up with a lot of those excuses or those reasons, just like this individual did. And therefore, again, it points back to automating your savings and the simple power that you don't have to make that decision with your 401k every single paycheck. You can actually just put it on autopilot, and therefore, whether the checking account's a little skinny or a little fat, the stock market just had a big surge or a short-term decline, your feelings on the market or whatever, things, if that shifted, because you already said, 15% in my 401k, there isn't anything that you need to do. It's just automatically going to happen. You don't need to think about it. I used to have a saying that you should automate all of your savings and none of your expenses. Automate all of your savings and none of your expenses. And I actually think that will get you very far financially. Harder to do now because so many expenses are subscriptions and they need to be automated. But still, the point is automate as much of your savings as possible. So how could that be applied in this situation? Well, I'll give you a couple thoughts. First, in this situation where you don't have you're not able to anticipate that these dollars might fall in your lap. I mean, what a fantastic position, right? But in this instance, if you have clarity over your 3 bank account system, your cash flow operating system, that, yeah, we've got enough in the checking account, we've got enough float, we've got visibility on all of our monthly income, our monthly expenses, we've got all of the short-term goals that we might need cash for, down payment on a house or home improvement or car replacement, car repair, vacations, those sorts of things. If we have clarity and a consistent way of updating and ensuring that we're on the same page, if you've got clarity there and you've got a fully funded emergency fund, then when those pennies from heaven come where, oh, I wasn't expecting that refund. Oh, I didn't realize I was going to be receiving that inheritance. I was just grieving and helping the family, and I didn't realize that was coming. Or, yeah, business had a payout, or I got a big commission. If you've got clarity, that level of clarity and confidence over your cash flow system, then it's easier to say, yep, nope, this money, we weren't expecting it, apply it towards the long-term goals. Apply it towards the goals. You don't need to think about it as much, and you can just apply it towards the goals. I'm thinking back earlier in my career, individuals that I was serving that ran companies and had a large amount of quarterly incentives. They'd get $200,000-$300,000 of income at a time, assuming the quarter went well for their department, their division. And in that, we would say, all right, we would establish the savings rule. Okay, you're going to send this amount to Uncle Sam. You're going to set this amount aside for short-term goals, and everything else we're sending long-term. And so when you establish those savings rules, that can really, really help you. But then the second thing that I would share as an example to this, or really as takeaway from this, is, are you truly leveraging this subtle power, this simple wealth building hack, and saving automatically in every possible situation? 3 areas that I would challenge you with is, first, with your Roth IRAs. A lot of people, because the 401ks come right out of your paycheck and that's all automated, that's great. But then when it comes to saving up into your Roth IRA or even your HSA, you just, oh, well, is the money there? Will I have the resources? No, automate that. Automate it, because again, it helps you overcome these same hesitancies that this individual faced. Automate your Roth IRA savings or any retirement or long-term goal savings that don't come out of your paycheck. That's one. Second, automate all of those short-term goal savings. Don't rely on some pennies from heaven to help you figure out the car repair or car replacement account. Figure out what those amounts are, what those goals are, what those amounts are, and begin automatically saving. This is your delayed spending. So things like car repair, car replacement, or big home improvements, or even a down payment for a house. Figure out what that goal is. Divide it by 12 or 24 even, or however long you think you need to save up to get there, and automate that savings so that those short-term goals are getting funded automatically as well. And then finally, if you don't have the right emergency fund, automate that savings as well. It's going to be hard for you to save up 25 bucks at a time and save up 20 grand, but maybe figuring out, automating $200 a month or whatever it is towards that savings goal can help you get there over time. So leverage, harness that hack, that simple wealth building tool of automating as much of your savings as possible. Work with your CFP on that. If you don't have a CFP on your team, you can contact one on my team. Find us online, Korhorn.com. That's Korhorn with K, wisemoneyshow.com. You can find us there as well, or send us an email, info@korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.